I'm Kamerie Gibson. Welcome to the Kamerie Gibson Show, the podcast. I believe that one of the most precious gifts you can share with someone is your story. Pain has purpose and stories can change lives. Your journey to become more inspired and transformed by the lives of those around us starts now. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Kamerie Gibson Show, where we talk about transforming our pain into power. And today I have a special guest with me here today. Would you mind introducing yourself to the audience for us, please?
Oh, my name is Antoine and I graduated from Xavier University of Louisiana, and I am currently a plumber for my dad's company, which started, I think, in like 1987.
Okay, what's the name of the company?
It's Hydroman Rooter.
Hydroman River?
Hydroman Rooter. Yeah.
Hydroman Rooter.
Yeah, you know those plumbing names. They always have that, like, they always add, like, Rooter at the end. I don't know why, they just do.
Yeah, what does that mean?
You know, honestly, I've never asked him. I only asked him, like, oh, how do I do the work? Or, like, you know, how do I, like, get the customer to buy something? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, like, you know, we, our company, we actually do, like, what's it called? Sewer drains and water lines. And we usually just do work for insurance companies or, like, you know, just personal work if you want that. So, you know, it's been a fun ride. I've been doing it for, like, 2.5 years now. It's crazy.
Wow. Okay, so me and Antoine actually went to the same high school together, Dorsey High School, in Los Angeles, California, for those who aren't from that area. So after you left Dorsey, I think we're the same class, like I said,
Yeah,
right?
we're class of 2015, so, like, you know, 7 years ago, like, went by, like, actually, it went by
So,
kind of quick, but sometimes kind of slow, too. I ain't gonna front.
right?
Yeah,
A lot of stuff is happening.
yeah.
And we lost a lot of people too from like our classes as
Yeah, I
well.
actually lost a good friend, Najee Harris. I actually played football with him. It was I'm not gonna lie, his death was kind of like I was at Xavier University of Louisiana at the time he died, but so he was like I don't think he was too far from me. He was in New Mexico, but like yeah, I think he ended up doing himself. But that was actually kind of depressing. So, like, you know, I'm just glad to be here still. I'm blessed. You feel me?
Yeah, that one was very like disturbing. I don't know,
Yeah,
for me
really.
to hear. And so I was gonna say like a lot of people, especially on the football team, like just they end up going so fast. But outside of that, when we graduated, what did you end up doing in high school?
You know what's funny? I was actually part of a motivated men program at Dorsey High School, and one of the people from the program, they his name was Charles. He actually had a friend at Bethune-Cookman University. And I think he was somewhere in the it was so long ago, but he was somewhere in the staff, high up in the staff. I think he was like the vice president or something like that. And he actually, like, you know, he was like, "Oh, go to this school. This school's really good. I think you'll like it. It's HBCU in Florida." So yeah, I ended up going there for 2 years. I'll start off my first year. My first year, I was scared of shit. Because, you know, being an 18-year-old, the next thing you know, your parents just drop you off in an unknown location. It's just like, kind of like, what are you guys thinking? This is kind of crazy. And next thing you know, like, I don't know about you, but just the whole entire college system of just being dropped off with a roommate with a complete stranger is just weird to me. Like, I don't get how people like it, but it was weird to me. But then again, I'm not gonna lie. When I first went there, because it was a Daytona Beach, I got blessed and I actually got a good roommate my first year. And for people who don't know, getting a really good roommate is very important. I had roommates who would steal from me. I had roommates who would be dirty. I had one roommate who literally did not know how to clean dishes. I'm dead ass serious. Like, he was actually like 5 years older than me, and what's it called? He would literally. It was funny. I came in one day, and he would literally take the sponge and just water and wipe the dishes with it. And at first, I thought he was crazy, but then he was like, I was like, "Yo, this is how you clean dishes." I literally, you know, put the soap on the sponge and, you know, hot water and started cleaning the dishes. I'm like, he was like, "Dang, you really showed me how to clean dishes." I'm like, bro, this man really did not know how to clean dishes. You see what
I
I'm
don't know.
saying?
Some people go all their life not knowing.
Yeah. So getting back to the my first year, I had a really good roommate. What's it called? Like, floor. I didn't. It was the first time because really, when you're at Dorsey High School, it's like basically going to HBCU because there's so many black people in there. So, you know, there's a good amount of Latinos in there. I said there's a good amount, like, you know, mixed, but it's predominantly black. So going to HBCU wasn't really much of a difference for me. The only difference was like the culture shock of like, yo, black people out here are completely different from black people out in LA. And I was just kind of like, wow, this is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
out there, I would say more people are a lot more religious. So that was
Mm,
that was real cool. As far as academic wise, academics was pretty freaking. I took it more serious. Like when I was at Dorsey, I didn't really take academics as serious, but when I was at Cookman, I was like, you know what? Let me just take it serious. Let me just take it serious. So I got pretty good grades. I got like a 3.6 and then 4.0 when I first started my first freshman year. So that was pretty cool. The one thing was like it was crazy. Like when you're in college and you have that environment of like having the dorm next to each other, like the friends you get to have is just I really love the friends. Like I remember my friend Darnell, my friend Ty, my friend Antonio, and my friend LJ. Like it was so close knit. Like literally, you can just meet up with your friends anytime you want, and I just loved it because I had some good roommates. You feel me? But then what's it called? I'm not gonna lie, dating wise, I didn't really do good. It was my first year because in high school I never really dated. You see what I'm saying? Like in high school, I was just like, it was just mostly just football and just schoolwork or just fucking video games. You feel me? But I never really dated. So when I got to like college and I started trying to date, I'm like, man, I feel like a fucking weirdo. Like, holy shit, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. You see what I'm saying? So my homeboy Snoop, he's real cool. He's a real cool man. What's it called? He just told me like, hey, you should do this and you should do that. You see what I'm saying? Like he was like, okay, this is what you're supposed to do. And he was like, yo, the clothing you're wearing right now, switch that shit up. So I got back in December and I kind of like I switched. No, what was it? Yeah, I think it was December. I switched my clothes up and everything like that. I started buying different clothes and stuff like that, and it wasn't really just like my what's it called? It wasn't just the clothes when it came to my dating life out there. It's more like just how it was. Like I had to like adapt to how like Floridians were. You know what I'm saying? Like not saying everyone's completely different, but like how Floridian people are completely different from Cali people. You see what I'm saying? So my first year at Cookman went really well. I didn't have any issues with it. Now my second year was a little bit harder. Not even academically wise, just my close enough friends. They kind of all moved. You see what I'm saying? And I won't even say moved. I'm talking about like they just like my friend Snoop. He ended up getting a girlfriend, so we were like, when we used to hang out, we didn't get to hang out as much. You see what I'm saying? My friend Darnell, no, my friend Ty, he left the university, and my friend what's it called? Darnell, he was kind of just like in his own dorm doing his own thing. I was just kind of like, I mean, if I wasn't hanging with those people, I wasn't gonna hang with anybody else at all. Because I'm like, not saying the some of them were weird, the other people were weird. It's just kind of like I just love hanging out with them so much. It's kind of like I'm cool. You see what I'm saying? So then that second year, I just really just focused on academics. And if I was dating somebody, I was just dating somebody. But then now I wasn't really just like on the party scene as much as my freshman year. Speaking of the party scene, what's it called? Just Floridians when they party, it's just I would say it's almost the same as LA people, but it's just kind of like a little bit. I wouldn't say more. I would say maybe a little bit more lit because I was in that HBCU environment where they had like Omegas, Kappas, and Alphas and stuff like that. So they were strolling, and I'm not gonna lie, the strolling gets kind of annoying, but at a certain point, it's just kind of like this is kind of lit. Like you know what I'm saying? So second year went pretty good. I actually had speaking of that, my second year, my first starting my second year, I had a nasty ass roommate. And the cool part about it, he was actually in the band. And as fucked up as it is, they had like a rumor going around like people in the band they smell. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's for every HBCU, but for Bethune Cookman, that's how it was. So he was dirty and stuff like that, and like he just would have his smell and stuff like that. And I told him to clean it up, and I was just like, you know what? I didn't get a new roommate. So before they give you a new roommate, they kind of like they question you like, oh, why do you want a new roommate? Blah 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 blah. And I was just straight up saying, I'm like, bro, he's dirty and stuff like that. Like I don't want him as a roommate. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm good. And it's crazy. I remember it because like when I'm talking about this, I can remember it completely. What's it called? So then they were like, "Oh, you're trying to get him like you're antagonizing him." I'm like, "Bro, it was the truth." Like, you see what I'm saying? So that was the whole entire thing. It was just kind of like when you have a dirty roommate like that, like even when you go to bed, you can literally smell like their trash. Like it's just, and you would think like crazy part of think like you would think like I was naive at the time. I would think like people raised my like people were raised how I was raised. You see what I'm saying? Their parents raised them the same way my parents raised me when it came to cleanliness and stuff like that. But it's just kind of like bro was dirty. Bro was
Yeah.
dirty as hell. Then to be honest, after that, like, I'm speaking for the future, but like my next two other roommates, No, my next three other roommates were just as bad. You see what I'm saying? Or just, or if not worse. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just like, oh my God, this is just fucking ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? But what's it called? It's funny enough, my first year at Cookman, what's it called? I was in the dorms, right? And we actually had a mold problem my first year. And when we had this mold problem, I'm just speaking on just like just because I seen like the stuff with like Deion Sanders and like the stuff when like certain HBCUs aren't run, the administrators aren't doing certain stuff at HBCUs that they're supposed to do. But like they actually had me and my roommate Antonio in a dorm with mold. And it was crazy, like, because it gets real hot during the summer, and he ended up losing like six pair of his shoes, and they didn't even try to replace him either. But like we were literally sleeping. Well, I was sleeping in a in a dorm with mold in it, and like what's it called? If you get that stuff in your lungs, it's actually really bad for you. So that ended up happening my first year. So it was kind of like I would just say when I was in college for those first 2 years, it went pretty easy. Everything was good. But then they started talking about as Cookman, they started having financial issues, and I'm like, man. And then so many times when I was at Cookman, I would hear so many students talk about, would you guys really be proud of like the degree you guys get from here? And I was kind of like, I mean, now back then I was kind of like, on board the ship with everybody else. They were kind of like, oh, we wouldn't be proud of it and stuff like that. Even though you should be proud of it, like you got a fucking degree. You know what I'm saying? But back then I was kind of like, maybe I should jump ship. You know what I'm saying? So then after that, I ended up going to Xavier University of Louisiana for my third year, and what's it called? My third year, that's when stuff went downhill. Like, like I wouldn't say like my life in general went downhill because I graduated college in 5 years. You see what I'm saying? But like I got slowed down, and now knowing what I know now, it's not good to have anything slow you down because you could be like in such a better position financially and mentally if you're not slowed down by anything. And I hate to say it, but actually in my third year, I actually got in a relationship, and that kind of played a pivotal role in me going like downhill academics. Cause like you coming from a different university, I was cocky as hell. I was the most. I'm not gonna lie, I was super cocky. Like I was like completely not humble at all when it came to academics. So what I would do is I wouldn't show up to like class or like my third semester. And sometimes I would like, my girlfriend at the time, she was actually at Texas University, Louisiana. I mean, not Texas University, Louisiana, but TA. She was actually at your school. So I would actually take like the mega bus or take like I think like a Greyhound, and I would like, spend time with her, like, 4 days with her, like a Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Monday, and try to get back to school on Tuesday. But like, if you do that a certain amount of times, you get so many what's it called? You miss so much accumulative, like I'm not saying that word right, but you miss so much information that it just kind of like by the time you get back to that class, you're just kind of fucked. You see what I'm saying? Because you miss like little pieces here, pieces there, pieces here, pieces there, and it just adds up. Or sometimes you're just, or when it comes to just work, like when you're just, I mean, at the time when I was in a relationship, like when it came to like homework and studying, I ain't fucking studying for around my girl. Like I ain't doing that shit. But at the end of the day, it does fuck you over. So I would do that. And then another thing is that's when I had another dirty fucking roommate. And he actually had what's it called? His girlfriend lived with him. They wouldn't say they was in a relationship, but the shit was just weird. I just kind of like, I didn't interfere with that because I'm like, that's none of my business. But yeah, we ended up having roaches my third year. Like dead ass, like I had like literally a roach crawl on my freaking hand, and I didn't grow up around roaches, so that shit was just nasty. You feel me? And then just the environment, the dorm was just nasty and everything like that. So what's it called? And then he stole some money from me. Like he lied to me and said the internet bill was something, and next thing you know, the internet bill didn't turn out to be that much money. You see what I'm saying? But I was my naive stuff. I never paid a fucking internet bill like at that time, so I was fucking dumb naive. You see what I'm saying? So then, what's you called? I'm not gonna lie. I want to beat his ass. I ain't gonna front like, but at the end of the day, because I remember telling him multiple times, like I'll tell him like, hey, can I speak to you outside? And then one time his girl was like, I feel disrespected when you ask him to go speak to him outside, not in front of me. And I'm just like, all right, man, like what the hell? You're not even supposed to be here. But the thing was like, what's it called? I could have snitched at the end of the day and been like, what's it called? And snitched and told the people who were at the dorm. I forgot the name of it, but it was like I forgot the name of it because it was so long ago. But I could have snitched and told him because like the dorm was like an apartment dorm. You feel me? I could have snitched and been like, what's it called? His girlfriend's living with us. But I was like, nah, I don't really want to snitch because I felt bad. I shouldn't have felt bad for their asses, but I still didn't want to snitch either. So you see what I'm saying? Plus, it's kind of like another thing. I didn't want to beat his ass or make a big scene about it because I'm like, I don't want this girl lying and giving no fucking false accusations of whatever, whatever. And my mom actually told me that. She was like, nah, don't put no hands on him. Just leave, man. Just don't even, just leave. You see what I'm saying? So I just, end up getting going to another dorm and stuff like that. But like I said, getting back to the academic side of it, yeah, my first year went bad. I got like freaking like I felt it was like one of the first times in college I failed a class. No, I didn't fail a class. Like dropped the class. And what people don't know, like if you drop the class, like you still got to retake the class, but you still paid for the shit. You see what I'm saying? Like, but me at the time, it didn't register in my head because it never happened to me before. You see what I'm saying? So then my next semester actually went good, and then after that, it was just kind of like, fuck. Like I still did the thing back and forth with my girlfriend. It went good. It went better, but it was still like mediocre. It was like C's and like B's or like it was just mediocre. I didn't drop a single class, but it was just kind of like, yo, I'm trash, man. Like what the fuck am I doing? And like a lot of times, like a lot of those classes, like in college, are like they're cumulative. Like you learn something on top of another thing. So when it came to like when I got to the next class, I was like, holy shit, I don't know this information because I didn't study the information prior to that, and I didn't study the building blocks of it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, holy crap, I'm fucked. So then I finally got to my probably like worst period of my life, like literally. So what's it called? Me and my girlfriend relationship, that shit just was going downhill. You see what I'm saying? I started my fourth year of college, and it was my first year, my first semester, like the fall semester. So I started that up, and basically I had this really hard finance class, and I should never been taking finance in the first place. So I'm like, what the fuck? I'm a plumber. Like, what the fuck am I doing with finance? Leave that to the finance people. You see what I'm saying? But what's it called? I ended up taking that, and all my finance classes, I got like F's and D's in that shit. You know what I'm saying? And like I would say at that time, my mindset was like, oh my god, like if I don't get this shit together, my like every test, most of the tests I took, I felt the bitches. Like literally F's. Like I just felt like I was stupid. You see what I'm saying? Or like I didn't have a future. You feel me? And like when you start thinking like that, you just get in a dark place. Like, oh my god, like I'm finna be homeless. Like that's what I was fucking thinking. I was thinking like, yo, I'm about to be fucking homeless. Like, holy shit! Like I ain't gonna have a future. I ain't gonna graduate. And meanwhile, like when it's college, you're around a whole bunch of smart people, a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of smart people who are on their shit all the fucking time. It's just kind of like, damn, man. Like I'm around all these smart people, and then I'm like, wow, I'm the dumbest one in the fucking room. Like I just feel stupid at the time. You see what I'm saying? And like I wouldn't put it on them, but like at certain times, I just hell, I would even ask other students. Only one girl helped me. Her name was I think her name was Mashuka or something. I forgot her name, but she was a little girl from Africa or something like that. Well, she had an African name. I don't know where she was from, but I think she was from Africa. But she was real cool about everything. You see what I'm saying? Like she actually helped me study. But the thing is, like I still couldn't retain the information. So I flunked out that year. Shit, relationship was down the barrel, man. Like shit, I don't even want to talk about that. But like everything that you think she could have done, yeah, she did that shit. You feel me? Like she did that shit. And at the time, like when you're younger, you're like, oh, you're in love and all that, bull crap and stuff like that. Like you don't really think with your head as much, or like really think about like, okay, what you need to do to in order to like be successful. You just kind of think about like, oh, just love my emotions, I love this chick, blah 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 blah. Like I ain't gonna lie, like I will honestly say at that time, like I would have given that chick like everything. Not just saying like, okay, I'm not saying I wouldn't give a chick everything. I'm just saying like, just in general, like that's what was my mindset back then. You see what I'm saying? But even though I was having all this bad shit happen to me, and just like sometimes I wouldn't even like, peep game sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I just was like oblivious to it. You see what I'm saying? Oh, I would always ask the question, and like people, like I'll bring up the situation of the people, like, oh, what do you guys think about this? Am I wrong here? You see what I'm saying? But I would say now, since I'm like 25, I'm like, I don't even ask people that. I'm just like, when it comes to certain stuff, like even when dating or it's just relationship wise, I'm like, I know I wasn't wrong in that shit. Like, nah, I wasn't wrong at all. You see what I'm saying? So like, that was going bad on top of my academics going bad. It was just like, a bad year. You see what I'm saying? And like when you're failing in college, when you're failing like one class, you start to focus in on that one class. And next thing you know, you start failing your other classes because your grades for your other classes start going down because you're not spending as much time on those other classes. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So like that shit was just, it was real depressing. I ain't gonna front. And then the next semester, and mind you, I was still doing the dumbass shit of fucking taking a fucking mega bus ride all the way for fucking 5 hours, what's it called? All the way to fucking Texas to fucking, Texas Southern and stuff like that to go see her ass. You see what I'm saying? And that shit added on to me fucking doing bad in those classes. You know what I'm saying? So I did that shit for fucking 2 semesters. I was basically failing for like, 2 semesters basically feels like a year for a college student.
Yeah.
That's how we gauge our years. We don't gauge like, people be like, oh, it's the summer. Like, man, college students don't really give a fuck about the summer. I mean,
Right.
besides like, making money or like having fun, like when it comes to like, school and stuff like that, we gauge our year off of fall and spring. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, holy fuck, I'm having a bad year. Like, is this gonna be my life? Like I spent all this time trying to like, graduate college, like holy shit, am I about to just fail? And then next thing you know, I came back. It was like night and day. I came back and what's it called? The lady, she was like, "Why do you keep?" I'm like, she's like, "Why do you keep taking these fucking finance classes if like you're not gonna be if you're not doing shit with finance? Like, who gives a fuck? Like, she was like, just change fucking majors. You see what I'm saying? So actually, let me stop. Let me stop. It was funny. My mom asked me the question like, "Yo, you look like really depressed." You see what I'm saying? And it was the summer. She was like, "Yo, you like really depressed type stuff." And like it was crazy. I was depressed. Like almost every day I was depressed type stuff. And it's crazy. Like I never really thought about it, but like a whole entire year worth of depression is just terrible on your mental state. Like, oh my God. Like I don't know. Like I wouldn't eat as much. I just wouldn't like really think about the future as much. It's just like, and I'm not gonna lie, that's a really like just a really, really bad spot to be. But thankfully I have like, I have my mom who was just like, yo, you look kind of depressed right now. And I have my dad, because, I work with my dad sometimes. He was just like, yo, she'll get better. Like, just keep pushing through. So I came back with like a new resolve, like that final year. You see what I'm saying? So then that final year, what's it called? I ended up, changing majors. I ended up changing majors to fucking, to management, business management. And next thing you know, and then after that, I said for the relationship, I just didn't see the girl as much at all. I only saw her like one time that semester, and next thing you know, my grades just went up. Like my grades just fucking skyrocketed, and it was just like, oh my God, like holy shit, like this is great. Like this is how life is supposed to be. Life isn't supposed to be fucking depressing and shit. Life is supposed to be great. Like, oh, your future's gonna be great and everything like that. So then, like I said, the next semester I got like a fucking 4.0. Then COVID fucking hit. But like, I honestly, everyone's like, oh, they had a bad 2020. I'd be like, yo, man, my 2020 went fucking good. I graduated, I started working my pops. Like, life is fucking good. You see what I'm saying? But, yeah, everything went good. And actually, when it came to COVID, everyone was staying in the house. So people were having, like, as much as I hate to say it, it was almost like, in COVID, when people were like, when they were talking about, like, who's those people who make money off of people when they're dead? Like morgues or something like that? But
Okay. Yeah.
morgues and what's it called? They make a whole bunch of money when people are dead. But like for plumbers, when everyone's staying in the house, everyone's fucking like breaking the house and shit. So then we get called to to fix that shit. And we were making money, so we were making bread in 2020. But the funny thing is, like when I first started working with my dad, I didn't know shit because it's like you're a plumber, you're picking up a trade. You see what I'm saying? So this motherfucker was fucking paying me minimum wage as a fucking college student. You see what I'm saying? So, but at the time, I wasn't really irritated. I was pissed. Don't get me wrong, I was pissed because I'm like, what the fuck? I spent time in fucking college, like, and it's crazy. I actually wanted to be a police officer at that time. At that time too, so that was the route I was gonna go. I'm like, as a police officer, you could be making fucking $75,000 starting out, and you want me to make fucking minimum wage, like. I'm like, this motherfucker's crazy. But then again, it's crazy. He actually showed me all the money and stuff like that. He was like, okay, this is how much money you could be making. Boom, 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 boom. If you stick it out, this is how much, like, plus you're going to be the owner of the fucking business one fucking day. Plus, I mean, technically, if I'm going to keep it real, like, I do run the business to a certain degree. You see what I'm saying? And to a certain degree, I actually make my own fucking hours. You see what I'm saying? Even though people don't realize, people think of like entrepreneurship, oh, you're gonna what's it called, owning a business, like, oh, you make your own hours, you can work on like, late at night or something like that, or just some bullshit hours. Like, nah, we actually like, I wake up at fucking 6 o'clock in the morning, we'll get off of work from like 5. You see what I'm saying? But like I choose the days I'm doing that, and I tell the customer like, "Oh, what's it called? I'm gonna be here on Monday, and the job won't be done until Wednesday." And I'll do that like back to back to back. That's what I just did on the low $14,000 job we just had. I literally, woke up at 6 o'clock, went to work at fucking 7 o'clock for fucking 3 to 4 days straight. But I got paid fucking $14,000. You feel me? And what's it called? I got to make my own fucking hours. You see what I'm saying? But it is still hard work. You see what I'm saying? So back to that, like he was like, "Oh, you gotta get paid fucking minimum wage." So I was pissed, but it was kind of at the end of the day, I'm like, shit. As long as I don't go back to that year I had when it was bad and I didn't know my fucking future, man, I'll take fucking everything. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
what's it called? Yeah, I did that for like a good year until I actually learned this trade. No, it wasn't even a year. I would say like 6 months until I learned the trade good enough where it was kind of like, okay, you make 30% off of every sale we make in every job you do. So I was like, what? He told me that shit. Man, I kicked the fuck off. You see what I'm saying? So I mean that was pretty much it for like after college and stuff like that. Besides like I guess some minute details and stuff like that. You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you for that. What was it like growing up in LA? What part of LA did you grow up in?
Uh, it's funny. I actually grew up in View Park. And what people don't know, like View Park is like it's right next to Crenshaw. But the funny thing is like I would say like they're more like the I would say like they're the more bougie black people, you see what I'm saying? But not super bougie. I would say like just straight up middle class, you see what I'm saying? Not rich rich. I mean, of course you got some houses rich rich, but it's like, what's it called? Um what's it called? It's like right there. So I would say grew up in View Park, and I also played what's it called, Park Warner at Crenshaw. So I was around like
Mm.
little Crenshaw kids for like a good little minute for like a good, I'll say like for about like 4 or 5 years until I ended up playing Pop Warner like what's it called, Culver City. But I mean that was about it. I went to school in what's it called, near for people who don't know, I would say I went to school near what's it called, Westchester Elementary School. And it was funny, like when I first started my I guess is it called grade school or something like that?
Grade school?
Yeah, grade school. I was actually introduced into I actually had a I was actually in speech therapy starting off. And the reason why I was in speech therapy was because I actually got an ear infection, what's it called, when I was younger. But I was so young that I didn't remember that I got an ear infection. You know what I'm saying? It was like when I was maybe like a toddler or something, like when I was like 2 years old. So I got an ear infection. So like what's it called? When it came to like talking and stuff, like because you learn how to talk for your, like you got to listen to people's voices. I would say certain words and people wouldn't understand me. I'm like, I would be frustrated because I'm like, why aren't these people understanding me? But it's just kind of because I just literally just couldn't, like, I couldn't articulate myself. You see what I'm saying? So I was actually in speech therapy for like, for grade school. And then I was actually introduced into freaking IEP, which is kind of like, it was like when you're, these are for kids who have a learning deficiency. But it was kind of like when I was growing up, I'm like, well, damn, like these motherfuckers are putting me like I'm special ed. And kids are cruel. My brother would be like, "Oh, so you need to be on the short, like the short bus or something like that." You feel me? I'm just saying that's what my brother said when I was young and shit like that. He wouldn't say all the time, but like just like even when we were in school, like they would take us out of like class and stuff like that. And they'll give us a separate area to take a test. I mean that was cool, but it was kind of like this kind of making me feel like less than. You feel me? Like something's wrong with me. You see what I'm saying? Which I do realize why I was put in IEP because of my speech therapy, but at the same time, it's just kind of like it made me feel really insecure. You see what I'm saying? Hell,
Yeah.
even going throughout middle school and high school, like me and my brother, we didn't really have too many clothes. You see what I'm saying? So like we'll rotate different clothes throughout the week, but it was just kind of like self esteem wise, it just kind of fucks with you. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You see all these other kids, like they have like new clothes and stuff like that, and it's just kind of like, oh my god, like, oh, here I go wearing the same old shit. You see what I'm saying? It was just kind of like, this is just, it was just kind of like, fucking with our self esteem type stuff. You see what I'm saying? Plus, my brother was an IEP, but plus I was an IEP, so it's just kind of like, oh my god, like, fuck, I'm wearing the same old clothes, same old shoes, and I'm fucking in this thing that's supposed to be like, it's not really special ed, but it's making me feel like that. You see what I'm saying? And then, even when I was in high school, some kid would make a comment like, "Oh, he's wearing that same damn shoes again." I mean, the same old ass shoes. I'm just like, I can't even say shit because I got old shoes on. You feel me? But it still fucks with you. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So then,
Yes.
what's it called? Yeah, I went to elementary school in Westchester. Then for middle school, I went to Ponds Middle School. And when I was in actually, I would just get B's and C's and stuff like that. I wouldn't really focus on getting an A because I'm like, this shit's fucking boring. Like, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Like, I do enjoy school. I like being around other like people in class, but I hate the concept of just like having to stare at a freaking book for like 4 or 5 hours and having to sit down for like 4 or 5 hours and do the same shit. You know what I'm saying? It always just annoyed me. Like, and it was just kind of like when it even came when to studying, I didn't study like I barely studied in fucking grade school at all. You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? It was just kind of like I said, it's just fucking boring. Like, why am I doing this? Like, and of course, like that information you do need to know. Like, you even for business, you do need to know like basic English and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? Even basic math, you do need to know this stuff. But at the time, I'm like, why am I even knowing this? Plus, I'm like, video games are funner, and like, what's it called? Playing football as a kid was fun. Why the fuck am I doing this? You see what I'm saying? But like, did that for middle school. What's it called? And honestly, when it came to like my academics, I was just like kind of like I was just kind of like I would say lazy. You see what I'm saying? I was like real lazy when it came to grade school. College, I wasn't lazy at all. But when it came to grade school, I was just kind of lazy because I'm like, I'll just breeze through it, like C's and B's and stuff like that. Fuck it. You see what I'm saying? So then, what's it called? Middle school was cool. Ninth and 10th grade, I played football at Hamilton High School. I didn't really like it too much. Just I didn't really like. I just it was just I wasn't really good at that school. You see what I'm saying? And not even the fact that it was even my fault that I wasn't even that good. It was just kind of like I didn't really get the as much attention when it came to like coaching as the other kids. So I'm just like, this is terrible. And my dad was like, "Fuck it, we're gonna just switch you out." So I went to Dorsey, and don't get me wrong, Dorsey's a good school, but man, I was shocked as hell because man, like I wouldn't say everybody would say it, but like Dorsey was a hood school to a certain point. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit was hood. Like at Hamilton, if someone not every time, but at Hamilton, if someone says like if someone's talking shit, they're not gonna fight. Freaking Dorsey, if someone's talking shit to each other, they end up actually like locking hands and stuff like that. I'm just like, oh my god, like this is crazy. Like holy shit, like. But it's crazy. Dorsey's a real hood school, but like Dorsey had like one of the most loving environments I've ever had. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
literally everyone. I feel like everyone at that school was like either they knew each other or they were friends. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, it was a more of a loving environment. Even if they fought, it was like a loving environment. You see what I'm saying? So I was just like compared to like even when I went to my HBCUs, maybe besides Bethune Bethune Cookman. Bethune Cookman had a loving environment, but that's because Bethune Cookman was just like Dorsey. It was such a small knit school that I love. Like I said, I love the teachers at Bethune Cookman. I love the what's it called, and I love the students. Like I love the students like a lot. Even the ones I even really know. Like it was just a cool like loving environment compared to like I would say like I said I have to bring up Xavier University of Louisiana because yeah the people were cool but they were just kind of like going on their own thing and then even when I was at that school it wasn't like that loving environment because like even at that school like I would dress like a certain way like I would dress real nice like even like one day went to class wearing all red and one of the teachers was like what are you doing here and I'm just like no it was one of the administrators was like what are you doing here and I'm like I looked at her like she was stupid I'm like I'm a student like why are you asking me this question you feel me like and it was just kind of like yo you're fucking profiling the hell out of me I'm not stupid I know what you're doing you see what I'm saying I'm like compared to like Bethune-Cookman and Dorsey High School they would never do that. I wouldn't say Hamilton would do that. I'm just saying, like, in that environment, they would never do that to their students. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's what I kind of like, okay, this is a much more loving environment. And, another time I actually got profiled at Xavier University of Louisiana was when I was at the gym and I was just charging my phone. The guy, he was like, oh, can I see your ID? And I'm like, bro, I'm about to just charge my phone and I'm about to and I'm about to leave in like 5 minutes, man. Like, I don't have my ID. He's like, well, you got to leave since you have your ID. I'm just like, bro, you clearly see I got a book bag. You clearly see I'm a fucking student. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got an attitude with him, man. I'm just like, I told him like, what you gonna do about it? You feel me? And the motherfucker called the fucking police on me and stuff like that. I'm just like, bro, it's not like I was in front of his face saying like, what you're gonna do about it. It was kind of like I'm like 20 feet away from him, just charging my phone, just chilling, like just minding my own fucking business. And this motherfucker called the police on me. You see what I'm saying? So I'm like, they were like, oh, you gotta leave. So I'm just like, fuck this. I'm gonna just leave. Like I ain't finna just like I ain't finna get in no trouble. You see what I'm saying? But I'm like, why would you call the police on like a student? You see what I'm saying? Like Especially,
Mhm.
I can see if I was kind of like if I walked into like the weight room or walked into the basketball courts, or because it was an inside facility. You feel me? I can see if I did that and try to interact with people, or even try to like walk into like the bathrooms or something like that. But if I'm just like at the entrance charging my phone, it was just kind of like it's just fucking weird. You know what I'm saying? So like I said,
Yeah.
at Dorsey High School, I got that loving environment a lot. I appreciated it like every moment of it. Back then, I probably didn't appreciate it, and maybe that's why so many people be like, oh, all the old heads we would like look at. They were like, oh, we love Dorsey High School so much. Like I always wonder. I'm like, why the fuck do you love this shit so fucking much? You see what I'm saying? But at the time, I was kind of like speaking from a perspective of like enjoying it. I was speaking of a perspective of like, you know, being away from it. You see what I'm saying? So it's just kind of like once I got out of it, I'm like, oh my god, I actually appreciate it because like just being in that environment when you're around your friends all the time, it's kind of feels like a family knit environment. Now it's just kind of like now since I'm older. Don't get me wrong, I can still text with friends, but it's nothing like being able to like literally, reach across to be able to actually like, no homo, but actually be able to like touch your friend. You see what I'm saying? Or like, or actually interact with them instead of just being on the phone. You see what I'm saying?
I get you.
Yeah.
It it does like kind of feel good to know that we went to a school like before having to go to college. A lot of people that I met in college, black people, they grew up in like predominantly white areas, the suburbs.
Yeah.
So a lot of them, they crave that stuff that we already had just by the
Yeah.
schools we went.
Even some of the kids there, they act like they were like me, not to be a dick, not a Cookman, but like even some kids like when I went to college, well, they're kind of like act like they're like fake hard or all this other stuff. I'm just like, bro, like
Mhm.
you don't like. Not saying Dorsey was a bad environment, but I'm like, you don't want to like act like that. I'm like, what's the point of even acting like that? Like, you can actually like, if you mess with the wrong people, you might actually like, one, you can get killed, or you can get seriously injured. You see what I'm saying? Not saying Dorsey's like that, but I'm just saying like, when they would actually like, when I would meet people who actually want to fight you and stuff like that, it was just so much different than like, of course they still have love with it, but it was so much different. Like when people were like trying to crave it, like you'll have so many people who would just be insecure, like, oh my god, they're saying I'm whitewashed and stuff like that. I'm like, man, it's not even that serious. You see what I'm saying? Who cares if they say you're whitewashed? You don't have to act a certain type of way to get this. You don't have to do this. You don't have to act hood to like get girls or anything like that. Like, bro, just be yourself, man. Just have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to act like this so people will mess with you. Like, won't mess with you. Just be cool about it. Because when you, I don't know what the word perpetuate, like this image of yourself, this fake image of yourself. Not saying every Xavier Wright did it, and not saying every Cookman student did it, but I'm just saying like you don't need to like have this false image of yourself to get people to like you. Just be chill and just everything like that. Everything's gonna like pan through. You see what I'm saying? Because like even when I was at Xavier, I had one student, and what's it called? I'm not saying being. I was about to like beat his ass because he touched my shit. And I'm like, bro, don't touch my stuff. And he was kind of like, so what you gonna do about it in front of everybody? And we went to Dorsey, so if you're gonna say something like, "Oh, what you gonna do about it in front of everybody?" Like, what you gonna do about it in front of everybody? It wasn't like 1-on-1. It was just kind of like, what's it called? Like 20 people in the classroom. So if I get quiet, it's a lose-lose situation. So if I don't act like if I don't fight this dude, and act like I'm about to beat his ass, or be like, "Oh, I'm about to fight." If I don't act like I'm about to fight him, or at least I lose because he's like, oh, he punked me in front of everybody. But if I stay quiet, he's gonna be like, oh, Tuan got punked in front of everybody. So, a person who's from that environment, they wouldn't do anything like that. You see what I'm saying? Even when I was at what's it called? At TXU, your school, what's it called? I would be walking with my ex-girlfriend, and I would literally have dudes stare at her while I'm walking with her. And it was crazy. At first, I would like kind of like stare at them back and say something, but they would do it so much. I'm just like, bro, I can't walk around with you because there's too many dudes just staring at us. You know what I'm saying? And like they'll be aggressive about it too. And I'm like, what is wrong with these people, man? Like, I'm like, don't you know what can happen? You feel me? So I'm just like, man, but it was just kind of like, what's it called? A lot of, and don't get me wrong, like HBC, a lot of people like, not every person was like that. I don't want to be like, oh, negative ass nigga, like, be a old, like, I wouldn't even say Uncle Ruckus, but like, talking shit about all, people who grew up in like, predominantly white neighborhoods. I'm just saying, like, I would just say like a certain amount, not all of you, but I would say a certain amount of them had like an insecurity about them, which was kind of like, you don't need this insecurity. You see what I'm saying? or even like what's it called? Even when it comes to like the like bad neighborhoods or shootings and stuff like that, like they'll just kind of like over dramatize like certain things, and I'll just be like, or they'll be talking about privilege and stuff like that. I'm just like, they'll be like kind of like having a trying to have like a aggressive attitude towards like privilege and stuff like that. I'm like, yo, you guys should be like happy about that, like just because like don't be like, oh I'm privileged and stuff like that, or oh I'm not privileged. Like, nah, some of y'all motherfuckers are privileged because like I said, when I went to Dorsey, I knew at least 2 students who were like homeless going to school. Like, I'm like, how the fuck are you homeless and you're going to school, bro? Like, that doesn't make any fucking that to me. That just doesn't register. You see what I'm saying? So I would say there was a certain amount of insecurity, but I mean, hopefully when they were at school, it did just kind of like what's it called, pamper. You see what I'm saying?
Damn, I didn't. A lot of people that we went to school with, I didn't know they were going through what they were going through. Like a lot of people, their parents were on drugs, their parents were dead,
Oh
or
yeah.
like all that stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
Um, and I would definitely feel some type of way when I was in college about people who would try to act hood. It's like, why would you want to be from that? Do y'all even know how? It's not fun. Like, it's actually very sad, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Or like
Um,
what's it called? Like we went to Dorsey like every 2 seconds. Like sometimes we'll hear like gunshots. We will literally hear gunshots while we're in the freaking while we're in the quad or while we're like next to the gym or while we're in class. We would hear gunshots. Like that's what I'm just saying. That type of environment, it's not something that you want to be in. You see what I'm saying? But just the whole entire aspect of just like the whole entire HBCU and just stuff like that. Like you could just still see like my biggest thing was I feel like well no I learned in the HBCU that there is such thing as a I would say there's like I don't know what it's a like. I don't know how to pronounce it. I mean, how to say it. But there is a definitely differential in like a financial like class system. You see what I'm saying? Like a financial class system that people don't mark like don't look upon when they're talking about black people or just like any race of people, white, Native American, Asian, Indian, just all of that. Like there's such a thing as an economic difference that you don't really see until like that I didn't see until I went to HBCU. I thought every like what's it called black person grew up the same, like I said, but it's just completely different. Like the word how you viewed it, it was just like I said. When I went to Dorsey, Dorsey had a culture shock, and when I went to Bethune Cookman, had a culture shock, and even when I went to Xavier University, I had a culture shock of just how different people were and how different people like moved around. You see what I'm saying? And moved around like what's it called? And how like what they're doing and stuff like that, and how they like treat one another. You see what I'm saying? Because when I was at Cookman, yeah, I would say it was more like the religious people were like super religious and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? When I went to Xavier, people were more like academically and more like financially like sound when it came to like their decision making. You see what I'm saying? Cookman, it was more like don't get me wrong, they had that aspect, but I would say the religion really did, what's it called, was really a big focus down there. You see what I'm saying?
what has been the most difficult thing for you in becoming a man?
Fuck, that's a hard one. That's a hard one. I don't know. Like, I feel as a man, I would say, first of all, I would say there's like two different distinct things. Like, no, I would say there's three different things. You have your discipline, you have the friends you're around, and the third one you would have is who you're dating. That's the biggest things when it comes to being a man. Like the discipline is gonna be there when it came to like the discipline. If I wanted it real bad enough when it comes to being a man, I would get it. You see what I'm saying? And when I'm talking about discipline on what I wanted at the time, if I wanted to get like all A's, or even when it came to money, if I wanted to make this amount of money or something like that, I would have the discipline to get it. But the second thing was my friends, because my friends actually do, like people like it's the old saying. It's been used a million times. Oh shit, my fault. It's been used a million times. But what's it called? Like they say who your friends are or who you're gonna end up being. You know what I'm saying? And I would say like yeah, they all right because what's it called? When I was at Xavier, I was around a whole bunch of people who were smart, college graduates, and they like what's it called? And they ended up what's it called? They ended up, being really successful. And I'm around them and I'm looking like, I'm looking successful now. You see what I'm saying? But like that pays a pivotal, or it's just even when you're around your friends, it just what's it called? Being a man is just kind of like it's just the situations that you're put in. You see what I'm saying? The different types of situations. I've been in good situations, and I've been in some bad, really fucked up situations. You see what I'm saying? I've been in some good situations like when it comes to like just like what's fun, or when it comes to like even financially, I've been in some good situations. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to like even like bad situations, I've been around some friends who are just like what's it called, who end up almost getting me in trouble because of some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, bro, like it wasn't even that serious. You see what I'm saying? But they're causing like I'm not really a much of a energy guy, but like I said, when they were doing bad, it just they will attract bad, and next thing you know, I was in those bad situations. And thank God, God was looking out for me. You see what I'm saying? But it's just kind of like, yo, I could have been in some really fucked up situations because of some, particular dudes I was hanging around, or even like I wouldn't even say these guys were bad guys. You know what I'm saying? I was just saying at the moment they made some stupid decisions. You see what I'm saying? Because I was around like one of my, I would say like 2 years ago, and my homeboy, what's it called? We went on a Hollywood walk. You see what I'm saying? This is post graduation, right? And we were on Hollywood Walk, and some girls walked past, and we were talking to the girls. And next thing you know, some dudes in this Jeep pulled up, and they started like they started trying to get the girls' attention. And I'm just like, yo, like we should just leave, like let them talk to these girls. Like I ain't finna fight over no like girls I don't even know. You see what I'm saying? Like this is just weird. You see what I'm saying? But then he was just like he was just yelling at the dudes, and I had to pull him back. And I'm just like, bro, like what if those guys have like some like guns or something like that? You see what I'm saying? And not saying I'm one to like profile or anything like that, but like I know a certain look of some guys who are like willing to like fight, or like I said, they have some guns. Look, we're dead over what? Some people we don't even fucking know. Like, does that not sound insane? We're gonna die over some people we don't know. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just some crazy story. Or even like, even my other homeboy, he was hollering at some chicks, at a chick, and the guy was there. And next thing you know, the guy stepped to one of the guy's friends stepped to my homeboy, and next thing you know, I had to step to the guy. And next thing you know, I'm surrounded by 2 or 3 guys, and they about to like literally. They were some older dudes too, but they were some older gangbangers. You know what I'm saying? Even though it doesn't matter if they were some gangbangers or not. I'm just trying to give like some perspective for the story. You know what I'm saying? But like at the same time, they were surrounding me. They're like 40 and 30 years old, and I'm like, bro, I'm gonna get my ass beat because this dude want to holler at this chick, knowing this other guy's right there, and that's his girl. You see what I'm saying? And I'm just like, yo, just what's it called? But I would just say my friends because the thoughts of my friends who were thinking. Not saying I'm think completely like them, but it really has had like I would say they did imprint themselves onto my mind. You see what I'm saying? Because like my friend Snoop, he's my homeboy. He's like a brother to me. You see what I'm saying? My friend Snoop. Like I said, he showed me like how to what's it called? I wouldn't even say behave myself, but like actually like how to like be chill. You see what I'm saying? Like he showed me that like how to be chill, how to just be I don't want to say talk too much, but I would just say like how to dress and stuff like that, or just like like just what's it called on how I think. You see what I'm saying? Because like I'm around my friends, even Darnell, LJ, they would just like what's it called, Ty. They would impact how I think because I'm around them all the time. So I started thinking how they were thinking. You see what I'm saying? And they were a good amount of like friends who were just kind of like, yo, this has impacted me and turning me more into like a man and how my thought processes. You know what I'm saying? And the last thing I would say, actually, Miss Four, which is like my parents. You see what I'm saying? But the third thing I would say my relationship and being a man when it comes to like relationships. When even I would even say like even for some women, like even for women too, when it comes to your relationship and who you're dating is very very important. It's just they can impact you on such a large scale that I didn't know at the time that someone can impact me on that scale. And I'm not talking about like because me that relationship was very like it had some good times but it was toxic, but it was toxic at other times. You know what I'm saying? But it had some good times, but the amount of just like what's it called? Just the amount of like me being a man, being like, okay, I need to walk away from this in order for me to be successful as a man. It just at the time it seemed impossible for me, but it was just kind of like, yo, I need to do this. You see what I'm saying? Plus, I was around her all the time. It was just kind of like, yo, this is something like hard to step away from, but in order to actually be successful, I need to step away from this. You see what I'm saying? Because as much as I love this person isn't really being the most positive person for me in my life, and it's actually being a distraction. And you know, as much as I want to be like, oh, I'm Superman, I can take as many fucking distractions as I can. No, I can't take as many distractions. Like, no, it just distracts me from so much. Like, okay, an hour on the phone with you here, an hour on the phone with you there. One that can stop me from making money. Because now when I work now, I don't pick up the phone to shit. If I'm working, I'm not picking up the fucking phone. I'm not doing that. You see what I'm saying? But when it comes to like, you know, just school or like anything, when you're focused on something and you have such a distraction or even a negative distraction, because like if you're going through some bad stuff in a relationship, as much as people be like, oh, I'm okay and all that stuff, like, nah, you're not okay. You see what I'm saying? Like, yo, you need like, I'm not saying you need to go get some like, you know, therapy or something like that. You see what I'm saying? Or you might need therapy depending on what it is. You see what I'm saying? That it's affected you. But what's it called? Like, it's just it was just messing with my mind. Or if someone if they do this, or if you guys have this fight, now when I'm studying, or now when I'm taking a test, what's it called? What's it called? I can't fucking concentrate. Like me, like I had this fucking. I remember I had some real bad stuff happen in a relationship, but like it was some shit that she did. You see what I'm saying? But I had my fucking final for my accounting test literally that fucking Friday. So I'm like, yo, I gotta take this fucking test. And at the same time, in the back of my mind, I know you did this bullshit. You see what I'm saying? And it's just kind of like, yo, like I feel like during those early stages of my life, like I would want to get that year back because I'm like, well, damn, like imagine how financially sound I would be if I had that year back. You see what I'm saying? Or imagine how far my business would be if I had that year back. So I'm just like, wow, I wasted like not saying because like I said, I did love the relationship as much as I like, you know, but it's just kind of like, yo, it slowed me the fuck down. It slowed me down too much. I'm like, you know, people are like, oh, it's just a year. Well, I'm like, yo, that's too fucking long. You see what I'm saying? But just having that wherewithal of just like knowing when to walk away, or as a man when it comes to like, you know, dating, or even like, you know, even a woman. Like I feel like, or actually I know that when you're in those type of situations, you have to do what's best for you. You have to do what's best for you, but at the same time you cannot let any of those distractions get to you, because at the end of the day it is your life, and at the end of the day you do have to set yourself up to, like, you know, I'm a man, I want to raise a family one day. If I have this distraction from a year ago, I'm 1 year away from like raising my family, or, you know, doing this stuff for like, you know, having this amount of money for my family. You see what I'm saying? So I mean, that part hit me. And then the fourth part that hit me the most is like just my parents. You see what I'm saying? That helped me be the man. And I would say just like, you know, I mean, mom is mom. Like, mom is just like, you know, I would say a loving human being. You know what I'm saying? Even my dad's a loving human being. But like, I would say my parents, because really, I would say the person, like, as a man, just like how to conduct yourself and how to, like, what's it called? And how to be professional just in any environment, or just, you know, how to be, you know, just, I would say chill but very focused, and, you know, getting the job done, or like, you know, keeping your word, which is a very big thing as a man, or is a very big thing as, like, you know, even as a woman, you should want to be able to keep your word with everybody. You see what I'm saying? But as that, I would say my father really helped me with that. And I would say my father helped me with that was just because, like, you know, I've never, like, as from my dad, even from my mom, I never heard any excuses. But for my dad, when it comes to completing a job, it's just like, yo, there's no excuses. You either just do it or you don't, like, or they're gonna get somebody else. And that really hammered in, like, damn, as a man, like, you know, or even your personal life, like, if you're not getting the job done, or if you're not getting it done, someone else, you know, they will look for somebody else who will. Not saying relationships, or even like friends, like even friends, like, oh, if you're not gonna do this, they're gonna your friends are gonna try to find somebody else who will do this with them. You see what I'm saying? And I'm just like, wow, when it comes to like money, like this is like the big, like it's the big leagues now, because it's kind of like this is very important, because I don't want to lose fucking $8,000 or like fucking $14,000, or, you know, any amount of money, because I failed to get the job done. You see what I'm saying? And they give it to somebody else. Like, you know, that's a shitty feeling. Or even like, fuck, man, like it's another thing that happened to me. I would say like I had this one time where I ended up losing a job. And losing a job, it wasn't even that much money. It was like, I would say it was like, you know, 1,400. But at the same time, when you lose, no, it was about 15. It was about 15. But I did everything right, and the lady actually gave the job to somebody else, and I'm just like, damn, bro, like that shit hurts. And I'm like, yo, I don't want to feel this feeling, even though I'm sure I'm going to feel the feeling again, because you're gonna win more than you lose in like business. But at the same time, it's just kind of like, man, like this sucks. And it's just kind of like, yo, I want to do work so impeccable that when people come back to my work, or just anything in life, they just be like, okay, that's a man and he got that shit done. You see what I'm saying?
Alrighty, final question for you. What would you tell the younger Antoine?
Yeah, what will I tell the younger Antoine? That's actually damn. I don't know, like it's crazy because like everything you went through, what's it called? Everything you went through impacted like what's it called? Who you are like today. Because I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't go through the shit I went through. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know. I would just say for the younger Antoine, I would say like it's cliche, but I would just say never quit, never quit on stuff that's very important, and it has to do with your future. Never quit on that. Know when to walk away from people. That's one of the biggest things. Know when to walk away. Don't just be like, okay, what's it called? Even like relationships or friends or hell, even family. And I don't mean like you gotta cut the motherfuckers out your life. Like that sounds like the extreme. Like oh, I gotta cut them out your life. Like I mean like just me my I got something in my throat. Me and my dad, like, we tell we like to joke all the time, like, yo, I gotta I gotta put you on punishment. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I gotta keep you away for like 4 or 6 months or something like that while I get it together, or while I collect myself and just like put myself in a position where it's just kind of like, yo, what's it called? I'm in a better position because you're not really putting me in a good position right now. If I'm around you all the time, you're gonna actually make it so I'm not in a good position. You know what I'm saying? And that goes for everything. Your mental state, which I firmly believe, I'm not gonna lie, your mental state is way, way more important than where you are financially. Because if you're in a fucked up place, in a fucked up mental state, not saying suicide or anything like that, but that or you could do some harm to yourself or even harm to others. You see what I'm saying? So like, what's it called? You don't want to. Wait, hold up 1 second. Oh, okay, I'm back. I don't know if you can cut anything.
Yeah, I can.
But no, like most importantly, you want to make sure your mental state is good. So I would just say practice on your. I would tell him definitely for your mental state, you want to just make sure that's always. You want to make sure that's always good. And I know that's kind of like very vague and just like okay, how the hell are you supposed to make sure your mental state's always good? Well, like I said, if you have people in your mental state that's messing it up, or if you have a lifestyle that you're living that you think is fucking up your mental state, it's probably time to be like, yo, I need to get away from this. You see what I'm saying? Even for me, like I would say, even for me, like I love video games, man, and that shit gets fucking addicting. You see what I'm saying? But like at the end of the day, yo, if you play that shit all the fucking time, I don't know how the fuck they do it, but it's so fucking fun. You're not gonna when it comes to your other things in your life are just gonna start to wane. They're just gonna start to falter. You see what I'm saying? So I would just literally like for my when I was younger, I would literally what's it called be like, yo, I can't play this for like a good 4 or 5 months. You see what I'm saying? Because it was such a big ass fucking distraction. You see what I'm saying? But like I would tell him like definitely keep your mental health up and definitely keep your physical health up because your physical health is just gonna help your mental state. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I would just tell him. And then I would just say the last thing is I would just say is pray and have as much discipline as you can, man. That's what I would tell him. And no, and last thing, oh shit. And are you recording? Okay. And the last thing I would tell him is just don't be afraid to ask for help. Like you're not Superman. You can't get everything done. Like, when I was younger, I used to be like cocky. And I'm sure, we've all been like this when we were like, younger and stuff like that. We were like, oh, we can do fucking everything. Like, no, you can't do everything. You gotta ask for help sometimes because sometimes it's kind of like, yo, things can get overwhelming. Or if you don't know something or you're just insecure about something, just ask. It doesn't hurt just to ask and just to put yourself in a better position because, you actually asked for help and actually were able to like, oh, wait, this problem that you thought you were having really wasn't that big of a problem anymore.